Okay, friends, buckle up because we're going there. So one day you're living your life and the next, you're knee deep in your parents' basement trying to decide if it's emotionally irresponsible to throw out a VCR from 1984.
Yep, Dr. Boca, whether your parents are downsizing to senior living, moving out of the house they've been in since the Carter administration, or let's face it, they've passed away. Now you're the one left holding the emotional and literal baggage. STG Concierge Moving and Organizing is who you need to call.
These women don't flinch at dust, drama, or decades of stuff. They'll pack, purge, organize, and set it all up on the other end without making you feel like a complete disaster. No judgment, just results. And yes, they're totally finding a respectful way to deal with your mom's fondue pot collection.
So if you're losing your mind, your patience, or just your hallway to the boxes, call STG Concierge Moving and Organizing. They'll help you move on in more ways than one.
STG Concierge Moving and Organizing. Every detail handled with care. Check out their website at www.stgconcierge.com. They're unpolishedly tested and unpolishedly approved.
What do you get when the audacious and the therapist collide? A crash course in unpolished therapy. Rachel Silvercone and Dr. Boca aren't afraid to spin out of control, tackling all the tough talk. Their weekly sesh meets at the corner of audacity and advice, where their wheels and yours get turned upside down.
Hi, Dr. Boca. How are
Hello.
you?
It's so good to be back here. How you doing?
I don't even know what day it is. I don't know what episodes we're on, but
It's okay.
We are.
Here we are.
I'm happy to be back on the pod, on the corner of audacity and advice. It's nice to see your face, and I'm happy to have your ear today.
You've got it. I'm so super excited. And I hear we have a guest today. So share.
Yeah, we do. So I have a friend who I call her my personal like credit card connoisseur or my concierge. Every time I have a problem with what card do I use for travel, or how come my friends are going to the south of France and they say they're using points and I have no idea how they're doing that because a day prior, they told me that they don't have 3 cents to rub together.
Totally.
And I just don't understand. And I feel as though like that'd be such a great kind of thing to chat about. So
Absolutely.
Robin is really, I mean, we joke that she is the credit card connoisseur, but she really has such experience in this field. And I thought it would be phenomenal to bring her on. You know, in addition to her being my little personal go-to, she is a seasoned personal finance reporter with years of experience covering credit cards, travel rewards, and credit building. Her writing has been featured in national publications, and she's been featured as a personal finance expert in outlets including, get this, Dr. Boca, Forbes, USA Today, CNBC, Business Insider, CBS Marketplace, and even NASDAQ's Trade Talks. I mean, she is one of my fancy pants friends, right?
Oh my goodness. All the things that I would never, ever, ever be reading because I don't understand a word of it. And I'm so excited by this.
Yeah, Keep going. She's another one. She's got a lot of letters after her name, right? She's appeared on and she's contributed to the New York Times, Fox News, CBS Radio, ABC Radio, NPR, International Business Times, and NBC, ABC, CBS, blah, 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 blah. All of the affiliates. Again, she's probably one of my smartest fancy pants friends. I'd love to introduce to Unpolished Therapy my friend and credit card connoisseur, Robin Sachs-Frankel.
Oh, my goodness.
Hello.
So excited. Okay.
Hi. That's a cool intro. And I was thinking about it, and I have known you both pretty much since I moved to Florida. And it's pretty wild because you knew me. You didn't know the professional side of me, right?
So I had no idea.
No, I did.
I didn't know that's.
You didn't know the professional side to probably either one of us either.
Right. I didn't know the professional side of myself when I moved to Florida because at the time I was a stay-at-home mom, and then I went back to work and kind of fell into this credit card stuff, and I fell deeply in love and I fell hard, and now it's kind of my jam.
I've got to say that I am so excited, Rachel, that you brought Robin for a multitude of reasons, but I have to say personally, this is one of my most frustrating things ever because I don't know which credit cards to have. I thought I had all the bells and whistles, then you try to convert things. So we're going to get into that. But I also want to speak professionally. I can't tell you how vital this information is for so many people, because I work with a lot of people who are coming out of divorce and they are trying to revamp, and there's so much anxiety and they're missing out on so many different ways of saving money. And it's overwhelming. I mean, it really is. I have ChatGPT'd it over just, my day to day. I've tried to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT has led me down all the wrong avenues. And I say to people, I'm like, you should maybe do this, or you can get this. And they look at me, I'm like, do you know how much money we've pissed away because we didn't follow the quote unquote right rules? So Robin, I'm so excited for you to be able to help all of us, including myself, my patients, my people, because I hear it all the time. So please share away.
Well, I have about 40,000 things I want to say based on what you just said. There's a big difference between someone who's taking a trip to Switzerland on points and somebody who is just getting divorced and hasn't really, let's say like a stereotypical stay-at-home wife who didn't build credit and didn't work. Those are two opposite ends of the credit card spectrum. So to address your divorced clients who perhaps did not work or the credit cards were not in their name, I'm not trying to stereotype, but you did reference a certain type of person, right?
Yeah.
The most important thing they can do is start building credit. That's not someone who's going to rack up millions of points, because if you haven't worked and you don't have, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to interrupt because that's what I do. But let's even go back to brass tacks and explain, what does that even mean for someone who's been married for umpteen years, hasn't worked in even longer than that, and now you're saying they need to build credit? Let's break it down unpolishedly. What does that even mean, Robin?
So your credit score is a 3-digit number that's basically like your financial resume. Okay. It shows lenders how responsible you've been with money, right? So all of your major life decisions are based on your credit score. All your major life purchases. If you buy a house, if you rent an apartment, if you finance a car, whether you're leasing it or buying it, any kind of loan you apply for, a credit card is a loan. Pretty much those major decisions. And sometimes employers, I've heard, will look at your credit score. I've never had that happen to me, but it's one of those things that they don't teach you enough about it when you're young. And it's super important to always be working on, if you don't have one, or building or maintaining a strong credit profile. It is so important. And the reason for that is that the better your credit, the more favorable the rates you'll get on all your loans. I'm going to make up some numbers here, but if you have a credit score that's, 650, which is fair, it's not terrible, it's not great, and you're applying for a mortgage, $100,000 mortgage, you're going to get a much higher interest rate, let's say 8%. I'm making up numbers, than somebody who has an 800 credit score and is applying for the same loan and gets an interest rate of like 4%. So that applies across the board. The better your credit score, the cheaper it is to borrow money. And I don't mean borrow money like take out a loan from a bank.
We know,
I mean,
right?
Things like mortgages, car loans, and credit cards, right? So that's the main reason it's important to have good credit. So if you don't have much credit, so let's say you're a fictional person and you graduated college, you worked for a couple of years, and then you got married and you let your partner pretty much handle the finances, and all the credit cards were in his name and you were just maybe an authorized user or whatever. I'm saying his. I don't know why I'm being so gender specific, but I'm giving you a fictional scenario.
He,
and then
she,
you get divorced.
them, we, cat, dog, we got it.
I just, you know what, I think we all know women who maybe didn't work and then they got divorced and then they really are kind of starting over financially. So if that's the case, so if that's the case and you don't have any credit, your focus is not on earning rewards to take fancy trips. You don't have enough credit likely to qualify for like an Amex Platinum or a Chase Sapphire Reserve. You should just get cards that are geared more towards your profile. And there's a lot of credit cards out there that are geared for those with fair credit or building credit. And so that's what your focus should be, right? Well, and for women like that, I would say your focus should be on a no annual fee card with basic rewards. I'm not going to name any specific cards here because I don't want any conflicts with my professional day job, but there are cards that earn 1.5% cash back with no annual fee. There's some that are 2%. I mean, there's no exact credit score that's going to say you qualify for this specific card, but fair credit, which most people should have if they were authorized users on their partner's cards and their partner had good credit, you should be able to qualify for a nice starter card. Now, if you have horrible credit, because you never I don't know, if for whatever reason, maybe your partner was terrible with money and you guys had money problems, and it happens to a lot of people, then maybe you want a secured card. And a secured card is where you put an upfront security deposit, and in exchange for that deposit, you get a credit line equal to the amount that the bank is holding. So you give the bank $500, you get a credit card with a $500 limit. And that way you can slowly build credit. And over time, 6 months to a year, depending on the issuer, you can graduate to an unsecured card and get that deposit back. Building credit is a long game. It doesn't happen overnight. And you can't destroy it overnight, really, unless you file for bankruptcy. So it's like, just like working out. You got to stick with it and be consistent.
Robin, good question. I'm going back to when you said cash back, rewards. I forget exactly how you phrased it. But even something as basic as that flies off your mouth so easily. I'm sitting here saying, wait, cash back? Like, so when I go to the grocery store and I use my Visa, whatever, that's tied to my bank account, right? Do I get cash back, or my Amex or my Visa? And I know we're not going to be specific here with particular vendors and lenders, but not for anything. And I think of myself as a fairly intelligent person. Where's the cash back? I never see a dollar.
Okay. That's
anything.
A great question. That's a wonderful question. I'm glad you asked that. Because again, since I deal with this all the time, sometimes I'm so in the weeds that the basics, I forget about it. So when you mention your bank card that you use that says Visa on it, that's tied to your bank account, that's a debit card. I assume that's what you're meaning. A debit card is not a credit card. A debit card, even if it says Visa or MasterCard on it, all it means is that you can pay with it at the register instead of cash. And it has some protections. It usually has, like, most of them have zero liability, meaning if someone hacks your account and you claim it in time, you're not liable for the theft, that kind of stuff. But debit cards don't usually earn rewards.
Fine. And I respect that. But then even the cards I do have that say Visa on it, or MasterCard, or Jumbo, Mumbo, whatever, Amex, all of that, where's the cash back? Explain how that works and where a person sees that cash back.
So if you have a card that earns cash back, points, miles, any kind of currency, you see it when you log into your account.
Okay.
There'll be a place for it. I mean, every issuer is different and has it at a different place. But like when I log into my Chase account, at the bottom, it'll list my multiple Chase credit cards, and then it'll show where my ultimate rewards are, because most of my cards are in ultimate rewards. And then you would, once logged into your account, whether it's Citi, whether it's US Bank, whether it's Wells Fargo, whether it's American Express, you always have to log into your account, and then you'll find a place for whatever that currency is that you're earning, whether it's cashback points, and you have to actively redeem it. There are some cashback cards that will automatically apply your rewards as a statement credit for you, but not many. Most of them you have to actively log in and redeem those rewards.
If you listen to our podcast, Lori, I'm going to let you go in a second, but if you listen to our podcast consistently, you would know, and our listeners know this, you lost me at you have to log in. Okay? Like right there, I'm done. Here's some cash and call it a day.
How do you pay your credit card bill?
She gets hacked all the time. She doesn't remember passwords. Just go with Rachel. It's not her thing.
So here's what I will tell you and anybody else who finds credit cards overwhelming. First of all, set up every credit card. You got to log in to do this. So you got to figure that out. I have an iPhone. I have all my passwords saved on my iPhone. Automatically, iPhone just does it for me. Everything unlocks with my face or my finger. If I forget a password, I go to my passwords and look it up. But once you figure that out, you should set up auto pay on every credit card you have. Not to necessarily pay it in full, but to make the minimum payment. So you never miss a payment and you're never late. And if you don't owe anything in that credit card, you're not going to pay anything that month. It's the easiest thing ever, because if you don't do that, I have so many credit cards, I would never be able to remember to log in and make payments on every card.
So that is so important. And it was one of the questions that I had. So, okay, I hear what you were saying before, and you did a great explanation of these two different components, like those people that are building credit and those people that are like rock stars and trying to take amazing trips. So we're going to put the trip people to the side, the fun people right now.
We're going to get there
because
be fun. I want to go on trips.
I want to be.
I can help you.
I want to be
can help
fun,
you be
right?
that person. I am that person.
And I have
Yeah.
so many questions about the fun side, but
Mhm.
I do want to, this is what I do for a living. So I want to be able to educate as much as possible. So we have to build this credit. So when you're talking about the auto pay, which I think is an awesome idea because there's no way to keep it all sound in our mind when there's 800 million other things and perimenopause and menopause and all of those wonderful things.
Yeah.
Is it better for somebody to pay the minimum if they're trying to build credit, pay every month their entire bill?
Yes.
Obviously not to skip a bill. Like, I understand that, right?
There's no
What
reason
is
to
the
carry.
best way?
There's no reason to carry a balance if you can afford it. That doesn't help you build credit.
Okay.
That just it actually can harm your credit because credit is a mix of five.
There's no reason for what?
To carry a balance on your credit card, like not paying it full and just paying the minimum, if you can afford to pay it all off.
Okay.
There's no benefit to carrying a balance.
Okay, got it.
There's no reason why, if you owe $500 on your bill and you can pay that $500 easily, why you would only pay $100
Right.
a month. All you're doing is making it more expensive to have a balance.
Okay.
Now I understand many people need to carry a balance.
Right. Are you getting docked if you have to maintain a balance? Is that affecting your
Are you
credit
getting
score
docked?
negatively?
I mean, it's not as binary as that, but
Okay.
generally speaking, the biggest factor that makes up your credit score is making payments on time. That's
Okay.
far and away the most important thing. You will absolutely get docked if you miss or skip a payment.
Okay.
One of the other largest factors is, I'm trying to think it in the most layman terms possible. It's called debt to available credit ratio.
Mhm.
And what that means is if you have a $1,000 credit limit on your one card and you charge $500 to it, you're using 50% of your available credit.
Mhm.
The general guidance is 30% or below. It's not a hard and fast rule. Ideally, the less you owe the credit card companies, the better. The least. I mean, people who have an 850 credit score carry zero balance.
Mhm.
Okay.
850 is perfect, by the way. Very few
Okay.
people have a perfect
Okay.
credit score. I do not have a perfect credit score, and I probably never will. I have a mortgage. We have car
Right.
loans. I mean,
Right. DB, you want to jump in, or
No, that was the question that I had right now. I'm going to have many
Okay.
more. So if
Okay.
you have
Yeah.
one,
Robin,
Go ahead.
then I'm going to take the floor and start firing away here. First of
Go
all,
for it.
2 blanket statements. Number one, of course, this isn't real therapy. We want to protect Dr. Boca's license, even though, some of this guidance is, of course, for her to educate herself to help her patients. If you have real issues here with money, you got to call Robin directly and you got to tell Dr. Boca when you're on her couch. But this is for informational purposes and for us to have a good time and learn a little bit of something. So we want to protect her license. Number 2 blanket statement is that I was joking, sort of, when I was saying about logging on, because I do have my credit cards on my apps. Thank you very much.
Good.
And I do have my passwords. Thank you very
Great.
much. I don't remember them, but I do, thank you very much, have a little section in my notes that tells me what my passwords are. So bravo to me. I just want you to know. And I do pay some of them on the app. Others, I am still very old, unpolishedly fashioned, and I
you
write
don't send
a check. So
No.
I
Do you fill out the slip?
You
I
send a check?
Yeah, I do. I mean, again, I don't want to go too rogue here, but when it comes to like my Quest account for my blood work, I'm not paying that online. I'm sending a check in when I get these cockamamie bills from God knows where, and there's whatever. Yes, I write a check, and you don't have to school me on that. That's a story for another day. But when it comes to my credit cards, I do have them electronic on the apps. I'm not on any type of auto pay because that would actually stress me out more to make sure I know where I'm covering from Peter to borrow from Paul to pay Joe Schmo. So that I'm just anal about it. I put it in my paper calendar and I pay on time. I don't always pay the full balance off because I can't, which is what I kind of want to get into now with a question. There have been times over the 53 years of my life where I've had a Saks card, a Neiman card, a TJ Maxx card, a City Furniture card, a Rooms to Go card. I show up at Target. Hey, do you want a Target card? J. Crew, you name it, the list goes on and on. I haven't used half of these cards in half of my life to boot.
Mm-hmm.
I use my 3 primary cards, which I know we're not going to name names now, but should I be what is the benefit or the deficit, if you will, to having all these cards, even if they're zero balance, that are just piling in a drawer collecting dust?
So you have a lot of retail cards. You can name specific cards. I just can't endorse any specific credit card because every job I've ever had in credit cards, we just have compliance issues, and I don't know what that come back. But I don't want to say a card isn't any good, and then I end up writing about it.
Well, I guess, I mean, if we're going to just kind of,
but I can speak. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, in preparation for this, I was looking through my drawers and I was like, oh, J. Crew. Oh, Neiman Marcus. Oh, there's my Saks card. I haven't used any of them in God knows how long. The last time I used the City Furniture card, I guess, was 6 years ago. If I bought a couch and they had said, oh, 0 financing if you open up the card. All right. I opened up the card. I paid off the couch. And now that card is just collecting dust.
So
do I throw those out?
Well, I wouldn't throw them out. That's not necessarily, if they're bothering you, you could throw them out, I suppose, or cut them up. Don't just throw them in the trash. But
okay.
A lot of those retail cards aren't really doing much for your credit unless they have a Visa or MasterCard logo on them, right?
Okay.
If they just have a store logo and you can't use them outside of that store, it's called a closed loop, which means it's not necessarily being reported to any of the credit bureaus. So whether you have it or not.
So let me interrupt you there. Like, let's use, for instance, like the City Furniture credit card that I bought to buy the $8 zillion couch years ago that I paid off and I'm done with. I did that because they, wanted
0% finance.
Well, yeah, the 0% finance. They were also going to throw in a bridge, and then they were also going to turn back time, and I was going to look like I was 20 instead of 40.
Sure.
I want that card.
What would the benefit? You love that card, right? Yeah. What, you still you have that card?
No, I don't have it.
Can I borrow it again?
But we can't endorse it.
Right. Yeah, but should I have bought the bridge that guy was selling me, or should I have just put it on my name brand Visa, Amex, MasterCard, whatever, to gain these proverbial points that I don't know how to use?
Well,
what's the benefit?
All right. There's a lot going on with what you're asking me.
Okay.
So let me break it down a little bit. Okay. So first of all, in order to build credit, you need credit cards that report to the 3 major credit bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Anything with a Visa, MasterCard, I guess Discover now that Capital One bought it, or American Express logo, is going to report to at least 2 of those 3 bureaus. Some report to all 3, some just report to 2. Cards for bad credit may only report to 1, whatever. Store cards typically will not report to all 3. They're really, the main reason why you would sign up for any store card, and by store card, I mean the closed loop card that's just good at City Furniture, or Target has a card that's just good at Target. They also have one that's good outside, or Amazon has a card that's only good at Amazon and Whole Foods, and they have another Amazon card that's good everywhere, right? So a closed loop brand only card is more accessible for people who don't have great credit. So it can be a good building block. But the only reason to get one is it offers, well, there's twofold. It offers amazing financing and makes something that you need, like a couch or a refrigerator or a washing machine or whatever it may be, more affordable because you could break up the payments without paying interest. Or they offer discounts and benefits that make it worthwhile for you to hold it. Like when you own that Target store card, I believe you still get 5% off on the store card, or 3%. I know with the Amazon store card, again, not the Amazon card you can use everywhere, but the Amazon store card, non-prime, you get 3% off everything. If you shop at Amazon all the time and your credit isn't great, or you can qualify for that card and get 3% cash back. That would be a reason to keep that card. But in general, it's not good practice to keep signing up for retail cards just to get a discount. You'd almost be better off if you need that 0% period and you have good or better credit, signing up for a card that has legs beyond that intro offer that you can use even when the intro offer has expired. Like just a general purpose credit card that comes with an intro APR offer on purchases.
Okay. And go back again for myself and the listeners. I always say if I have the question, they do too. When you just said about that cash back, I'm still looking for that cash back, right? All right.
Well, you're not getting a cash back card. If you're signing up for a store card with an intro APR offer on purchases, that's not giving you
forget the retail name brand store. I'm saying, one of the Mac Daddies out there that we're talking about, but we're not saying or whatever.
No, we can say a card.
So Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and then of course I always say like the ugly stepchild Discover, which I laugh about because it's like, why do people think Discover is not as big of a deal as the bigger players? Even you kind of alluded to it a little bit.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions wrapped in there. So there's 2 things to think about when it comes to regular credit cards. there is the brand, like a Chase Sapphire card or an Amex Platinum. And then there's the payment network. The payment network is Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. Capital One bought Discover, so the Discover network is going to be expanding. So Discover is not so much a stunk anymore, right? It's
right? Welcome to
they
the
have
world,
a seat at
Discover.
the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it'll take some time because they don't have good international acceptance. But so when you say, "Oh, I use my Visa," like to someone like me, that doesn't mean anything. Who's it issued with? Is it issued with Chase? Is it issued with US Bank? Is it issued with Wells Fargo? And then what kind of Chase? Like Chase has, I don't know, 24 credit cards. Wells Fargo has 10 credit cards. And I'm just talking about consumer cards, not small business. So there's a lot of different names and nuances between the cards. But I guess I don't understand what you're confused about when it comes to the cash back. If you own a credit card that earns cash back, like, do you have a credit card that earns cash back? What do you have?
I don't know. That's why you're my connoisseur.
I know you have a JetBlue card, but what else do you have?
Yeah, I have an Amex card. I have a JetBlue card.
But what kind of Amex card? What does it look
so
like?
I can give you an example.
Okay. Go ahead.
Let's work off on my example because so I used to have an Amex Platinum and an Amex Gold. Okay.
Oh, okay, that's a good stack for someone who knows what they're doing.
Well, okay, yes, but I don't know. I don't have the Gold anymore. Okay, for whatever reason.
Did you have an actual real Amex Gold card on its own that earned 4x on dining and groceries, or did you have an authorized user Platinum Gold card?
No, I had a Gold card that was an authorized user, but it wasn't a Gold, whatever you just said.
It didn't earn the 4x, so that's not really a Gold card. That's a Platinum authorized user card. Yeah.
But I actually had a Platinum card also that I was the sole.
Yeah. Your own.
And then but talk about like what does 4x mean and what are you getting I want to know that.
So what I think the way I understood it always was if I went to a restaurant, okay, and like it's literally playing a game in my head. And Robin, please correct me if I've been playing the game wrong. But I would be like, okay, I'm going to pay with the Gold card. In theory, if it was the 4x card, I'm going to use the Gold card at the restaurant because the points back onto my account would be 4 times what I would make if I used my Platinum Amex card.
Yes, correct.
Right. Okay. So this is where I get all messed up. First of all, I have 2 questions, okay? Or 2 statements. One's a question, one's a statement. One is, can we go through each of these things and are you able, I'll say the company maybe, or maybe the general gist.
This is fun for me. Go for it.
Like what's good for groceries versus what's good for gas versus.
No, I'd love to talk about that.
So that's
really fun for me.
So that's one question. But the statement that I had was like, I had the Gold card 4 times, whatever, maybe. And maybe I did have the 4 times because I was getting a lot of points.
4x on groceries and dining up to 25,000 annually.
Yes. But then I was like, oh, good. I have 1 million Amex points. Okay. Try doing something with those 1 million Amex points.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Give them to me.
No.
I can take you to the Maldives. It's 1 million Amex points?
No, it doesn't work.
It's great.
You try. I found because something is happening where I would find the best trip, right? And I'd be like, I want to be on that flight. And then I would go and try to convert the things. And they would be like, oh, sorry, there's either a blackout or you can't get on that flight or it's 50 million points to go on that. But and so everyone's like, oh, you can go to British Airways or you can go to Virgin Airways or whatever. All these people are scoring big time. And I'm sitting with points that sit with my Amex, that sit in my JetBlue, that sit in my Chase Sapphire, not Sapphire,
Chase Ultimate Rewards.
Yeah. No, I think this one's preferred, but whatever. So
Chase Sapphire Preferred also earns Ultimate Rewards.
Well, my point being is I don't know how to transfer these points.
And you want the reward. You want the reward.
Okay.
I did a good job. Okay. I did a really good job.
You did do a really good job, but you just at the very end, there's so many, it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it and credit cards would stop giving rewards, right?
That's my question. Yeah. So what do I do?
All right. So let's back it up a little bit because we missed the piece about the earning 4x here. And
that's really my question too across the board. You spend the money and what do you get and where is it and how do you redeem it?
It's in your account.
Okay.
It's in your account. So if you have an Amex card, you have a membership rewards account. Yep. If you have multiple Amex cards, it all pools together in one membership rewards account. If you have multiple Chase cards that are Ultimate Rewards, it all pools together. Okay. If you have an Amex and a Chase Sapphire Preferred, those are two different programs.
Okay,
Those
we got
points sit in those accounts for those bank issuers, right? Because the issuer is Chase.
Right.
Is not, and the issuer is Amex. Now, in the case of Chase, it's probably a Visa. In the case of Amex, it's always an Amex, because Amex and Discover are both card issuers and they're a network.
Mhm.
So that's very confusing you. But okay, so the earning, there's two features. There's earning and there's redeeming.
Mhm.
So the earning is the upfront part where you use the card that earns the most rewards possible on the specific category that you're about to pay with.
Mhm.
So for example, I'll just name my three most used cards are Amex Platinum,
Mhm.
Amex Platinum, Chase Sapphire Preferred,
Mhm.
and Chase Freedom Unlimited. I love Ultimate Rewards, but I also love Membership Rewards for different reasons. Both of those programs have different transfer partners. Some of them overlap, some of them don't. For example, with Chase Ultimate Rewards, you can transfer your rewards to Southwest Airlines, you can transfer them to Hyatt. You cannot transfer membership rewards to Southwest or Hyatt. So something you have to keep in mind, and again, this is an introductory strategy. You just have to keep in mind, like, where do you typically go, and what airline is the one most likely to take you there with a direct flight? Like, there's no point in earning Delta miles and then cashing in for a flight that you have 3 stops to get to California or something, because that doesn't feel like a treat. You know, most people don't want to do that. So there's no right or wrong when it comes to, like, if you're going to be loyal to a loyalty program or this and that. But what does make sense when it comes time to choose the best reward card for your needs, there's no one best card for everybody. Everybody has different goals. And some people do phenomenally just earning cash back. Cash back, which you have to log into your account and cash out. Cash back is literally the most flexible reward of all. You just take the cash and buy your trip. You don't have to try to maximize each point. You don't have to try to transfer it to a transfer partner. Cashback is great. Cashback can reduce your bill, but you know, there's a little bit of, like, I don't want to say a stigma, but people seem to think that points and miles are the end all be all. And most people, when you hear about it on blogs, or you're not hearing about people who cash in their points for like a $200 trip to Des Moines for a family wedding or a funeral or something. You hear about aspirational stuff. People want to read about aspirational trips, you know, like to Maldives or went to Paris and stayed in a suite. And so not everybody is doing that every day. There is a teeny tiny fraction of people who make a living as travel bloggers and have ways of earning rewards, whether they were just buying stuff all day long for some other business or what. They're in millions of points a year. You need a lot of points to go on these amazing trips to pay for it entirely with points, right? Like, you could easily book a hotel in the Maldives with not that many points, but it's still going to cost you $1,300 to get there in economy. You know what I'm saying? So you really need a lot of points for a huge aspirational trip. So for example, if I were to recommend to one of you guys, if you had no cards and you wanted to start out with a credit card, I would say, well, what do you spend most of your disposable income on after rent and utilities? Is it groceries? Is it gas? Is it dining out? And then you would choose a card that earns high rewards, 3x, 4x, if possible. You would choose a card that aligns with that. Now, the cards that offer the highest rewards also tend to have the highest annual fees. So then it becomes a little bit of tweaking, like, well, am I going to use all these other benefits on the card to make it worth it? For example, I get way more than, well, now it's $8.95, but when I first got my Amex Platinum, it was $6.95, and I just got renewed at $6.95. I don't know why, and I'm very happy. I get more than $700 worth of value out of that card without charging a thing. I use those $75 Lululemon credits. That's $300 a year. I use the $100 quarterly Resi credits. That's another $400.
You have Saks. You have the
Saks
hotel.
credit's annoying. I buy a gift card and then I kind of aggregate them after a couple of years. I use the $200 flight credit. I use the $300 fine hotels and resorts. That's really.
And what about the quintessential that we always talk about, the lounges in airports? How do I get into this lounge with this card? How do I get into that lounge with that card?
Premium cards come with lounge access. Now, one thing that sucks about the Amex Platinum card, well, it has the most expansive lounge access of any card on the market today. but the Centurion lounges,
Oh,
only I can get in, and I don't ever fly by myself out of Miami, so it's like whatever.
Right.
But it comes with priority pass membership. We're kind of screwed where we live in terms of lounges, because West Palm doesn't really have priority pass lounges, and Fort Lauderdale has like one escape lounge, like before you even get close to your gate. I don't like sitting that far from the gate, but it works when you fly home. But so it comes with lounge access for me and 2 people. When I travel as a family of 4, we pay $35 for the 4th person, but it's worth it to pay $35 when it's a good lounge and 4 of us could go in there and be comfortable and eat and drink, because you spend a fortune in the airport on food.
Right.
So for me, this very expensive card is worth it. For most people, like when I go out to dinner and I see all the time, I see everyone will pull out their Amex Platinum, and I'm like, you're only earning 1X on your meal. Why do you have this pricey card? You're not making sure. I mean, this is my job to like log in and use all these credits and leave. I mean, I spend a tremendous amount of time thinking about every card I have and how to reek and squeeze and extract value out of everything.
And you should see me. Like, I go into analysis paralysis at the restaurant, at the register, and I'm like, okay, should I use my JetBlue here so I can keep my Mosaic status? Should I use my Chase here so that I can get to the next level of that Chase and build that, because that gives me the most reward back? Or should I use my Amex Platinum so I can go on that lavish trip when I get more points? Like, I am literally going crazy. Or pay cash.
Or Dr. Boca, be like me, who's like, I have all these cards. I probably am paying 10 times more than I need to for whatever the annual is that I didn't even know that I was paying for. And I don't think that I'm reaping the benefit that I am so owed and due. And then I'm like angry because I don't know how to reap the benefit of what's
it's
in
overwhelming.
My wallet.
Well, that's what credit card issuers count on, right?
And I guess so. And that's why I kind of feel like my ego is taking a beating here. And I want you, Dr. Boca, as my non-therapist therapist, and Robin as my credit card guru and friend, to just make me feel better and share with me and the audience that I'm not alone, that most of us are not the Robin Sachs Frankels who know how to do this inside and out. And most of us, quite frankly, are probably not even the Dr. Bocas that know to some extent, if I use this, I get this. If I use that, I use that. And then you play that game in your head. I would imagine most of us are pretty naive like I am.
It's not naive. It's just that there's a lot of things in life to learn as an adult. Like, I don't know anything about cars. I probably get ripped off every time we have something get fixed in our cars. I just happen to know a lot about this. This is my career. This is, and if everybody knew a ton about credit cards, 1, the opportunities wouldn't be so rich and lucrative. And 2, I wouldn't have a job.
I was going to say, job security.
And the debt wouldn't,
But so I got to say, Rachel, I didn't know anything about this really. And over years, I'm listening and watching other people. And at some point I'm like, you know what? Let me do a little bit of digging about it. But there's only so far you can really go. Like, I got the major ones and figured it out. But I'm going to give you a real life example that happened yesterday to me. Okay. And this isn't exactly points related, but I have Hulu, I have Netflix, I have Disney Plus, I have Apple TV, I have, you name it, I have it. Okay. I have a lot. Now,
that's too many.
I'm paying for them each as a solo. So it gets better. I'm paying for them each as a solo thing. Okay. We're paying for each of these as a solo thing. Okay, fine. Well, my friends are telling me about this, like this incredibly, a crazy hot show on HBO Max. Okay. And they're like, you got to watch it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know how to get HBO Max. So I had to Google, like, when you have all these platforms, how do you get HBO Max? And it comes through Hulu. Great. Okay, well, I have Hulu. So I go on and I see that my Hulu account's credit card is whatever I have it on, which was probably my gold card expired. I had to change credit cards anyway. So I'm like, you know what? My newest card is my Chase. I'll put it on Chase. It will be automatic payment each month, $11.99. Fine. Okay, fine. But I didn't have the HBO Max, so I had to add HBO Max. So I'm thinking about this and I'm like, okay, so I Google, and here's when I should have called Robin, but I Googled and I said, which credit cards bundle or give any credit and for which streaming devices? So
Amex Platinum.
And
you have the Amex Platinum.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you something else you need to know. because it comes with a Walmart Plus membership for
Yep.
free.
Yep.
That gives you Paramount Plus.
Yes, but I already have, I had Paramount Plus through something else, whatever. However,
if you guys are now going to couple the channels of the TV, which is the other bane of my existence, in with credit cards, I mean, you've really lost me, and I am logging off.
All I have to say is, I'm telling you, Rachel, I was in your situation up until yesterday, right? I have not felt euphoria the way that I felt it yesterday when I went back online, switched it out of my Chase after I just put it on my Chase, put it on my Amex, okay? And now I get Hulu, I get HBO Max, and I get something else. I don't remember if it's Disney Plus or ESPN
Paramount
or
Plus,
whatever.
what Robin just said.
No, that's on the Walmart thing. I get that already, whatever. But I got all of that for like, technically it was like $34.99, but Amex Platinum reimburses you $25 a month towards that $34.99 for up to $300 a year or something.
Well, it's $25 a month or $24.99 a month. And
so
when you times it by 12 or whatever. Yeah.
So I got the credit from $34.99 minus 25. So whatever that number is, which I didn't calculate, that's what I'm paying each month, which is about what I was paying for just Hulu. So I felt like the smartest human being ever yesterday. But what I had to go through, the mental gymnastics, was overwhelming. So I appreciate so much, Rachel, like how overwhelming this is, but it really is a fun little game if you can take the time. But we're all too busy sometimes to take the time to do it. But I feel so much better having taken the time to save the money.
I will tell you that I have saved, I mean, I've never tallied it, thousands of dollars and taken trips I never would have been able to afford to take if I wasn't in this credit card game.
That's why we need Robin in our lives.
Right. So Robin, like simplest
an overnight thing. Yeah.
Simplest person, right? Take a typical family that you know. Okay. Whether it's just for adults or adults with like high school level kids, let's say adults with high school level children. Okay. Cause I think that's probably what our listeners are at. Like
groceries,
right. Bare necessities.
Clothes.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, there's not really a great credit card to earn elevated rewards on clothes within one of the major rewards ecosystems. So that's a little challenging. What I would suggest would be a 2-card strategy. And I would maybe get something like, I would maybe get like a Citi Double Cash and a Citi Strata, which earns like 3x on, that's a newer card. It's like 3x on dining, groceries, gas, and a bunch of other things. And then you pool them together and you're earning Citi thank you points. With a 2-card strategy, it means you're always earning more than 1x on every purchase as much as possible. I mean, sometimes you might go to the vet and you don't have a card that earns elevated rewards at the vet, but the idea is to have more than one card that earns elevated rewards in different categories, so that you're always earning the most you can on every purchase. And the easiest thing is to have 2 cards from the same issuer, Citi, Chase, whatever. So that way you're pooling those rewards and building up a stash faster than if you just had 1 card and earned 1x on a lot of things. The Amex Platinum is not a good card for earning unless you tend to book airfare directly a lot, you know?
So I have a question about that, right? So, they have all of these like Delta cards, JetBlue cards, not necessarily Amex, so it might be Visa and all of that. What is the benefit, and the hotel cards? So like I have friends that have 1 billion Marriott points, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but now you're forced to have to stay at a Marriott, but on Amex Platinum, you get Bonvoy and you get Hilton, but then you
Gold, but those are useless.
Right. But then you go
Hilton Gold's pretty good.
But not only that though, I just was away, right? And I was like, oh, can you put my Hilton's card number on this? And they're like, well, you're not going to get any points because you did it through a third site booking. I'm like, I don't understand what that just meant. Like, how did I not get the points, but I'm staying at a Hilton and I used my Amex Platinum? Like, explain that.
Because you booked through AmexTravel.com. So you would earn membership rewards, not Hilton points.
So you can't earn both. Like, that's not a possibility either. Like,
well, not when you book through Amex Travel, no.
So what's the advantage of doing it then through something like?
I would never book through Amex Travel and pay cash. That's
Okay.
a terrible way to book because it's
Okay.
considered an
Who
OTA.
knew?
If you book a
Robin,
flight,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
if you book a hotel or a flight through your issuer portal or through an Expedia or through an Orbitz, those are all considered OTAs, online travel agencies. There's rarely a benefit to doing that. If your flight gets canceled, let's say you book this happened to me. I booked a JetBlue flight once through Chase Ultimate Rewards because at that time, Chase Ultimate Rewards and the card I had, each point was worth 2 cents. So it was like I got the flight at a really good points deal. But that flight got changed and I wasn't able to directly deal with JetBlue because I booked it through an online travel agency. I had to deal with Chase. And then with Chase, my credit expired like in a year, whereas with JetBlue, my credit, I think, would have lasted longer. So there's a risk in booking through your credit card portal that I don't particularly love, unless it's a spectacular deal. Airfare is always riskier than hotels because you're way more likely to have your airfare changed than you are your hotel plans, right?
Robin,
So
you
that's
taught
helpful.
me
Thank
that most recently when you helped me with something relative to
Yeah.
airfare, because my question to Robin, and I think this is pretty generic and pretty low brow, so I think our audience will relate to this, is I had gotten that JetBlue card, okay, for all my jet, and I
think you got the JetBlue Plus, the $95 one?
Whatever the one you told me to get, that's what I have. I don't know.
I think that's probably it. I don't think
it's the one where the bags are included. And let me tell you something. These days, that in and of itself is a big savings because it went from $50 to $60 to whatever dollars, and having that card to have the free bag in and of itself is worth it. That being said, though, the question I had reached out to you about, and I did, and I took your advice, and that has been working beautifully. What I didn't know, though, is that when I was trying to save a buck wherever I can, and I looked up on Expedia, how do I get from point A to point B? And then I called you and I said, well, Robin, I have the JetBlue card, which I get my bags for free, but on Expedia, it's not letting me use that perk. And you had schooled me to say, because Rachel, don't use that third-party booking. Now, I wouldn't have known that. I had been using Expedia for years to try to save $1. And in essence, now it's a twofold lesson. I'm learning now from you, you're not going to get the perk of the free bags, but you're also, and forget the money on the free bags, you're not going to save yourself the enormous headache when that flight gets screwed up and Expedia is nowhere to be found because you can't get anyone on the phone. And so you're basically saying it's worth the value to use the card, even if it's a little bit more, to deal with the airline directly with being the card holder. Yes?
Well, yeah. So I'm not bashing online sites. They have their audience and they have their purpose. But if you are trying to maximize a co-branded credit card like your JetBlue card, the whole point of having your airline card, in addition to earning miles on your flights, is that free check bag perk. That's pretty valuable to me.
Yeah,
and
huge.
you get to pick your seat selection. I mean, I usually fly with somebody, whether it's my husband or my kids or my husband and kids, and to be able to get all our bags for free and pick seats together, even when it's a basic economy airfare. This way, most airlines, if you have one of their credit cards, as long as it's not a no annual fee one, you get a free bag for you, and sometimes like Delta, up to 8 travel companions round trip, and you get to pick your seat. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. If you fly just once a year in that airline, it's worth more than the cost of owning the card.
So if I'm hearing correctly, that you're the first person who's ever told me this, that for hotels and for airlines, you should do it on the site of the credit card, meaning
almost
like
always
a Hilton.
better to book direct. And I will tell you, Amex Travel almost always charges more than booking directly. It's really frustrating. It's a known thing. You're trying to book the Plaza in New York City, and it's $1,000 a night if you book directly. It'll be like $1,200 a night on Amex, and they'll be like, "But you can apply your." Or actually, I think their prices are so jacked. They get jacked up because they give you this $300 semi-annual credit, but then you're like, it's still more expensive than if I just stayed somewhere else or booked somewhere else. So
what about also, I hear from my friends who, again, they don't have 3 cents to rub together, and yet they're off traveling the world on their quote unquote points, and they're always getting quote unquote upgraded. What is that all about?
So when you have a co-branded hotel card, it's supposed to, almost all of them give you some level of elite status. Now it's become so watered down in the last couple of years, because when everybody's an elite, nobody's elite, right? So for example, that Marriott Gold status gets you almost nothing. Marriott Gold
Nothing.
gets you literally, you'll never get an upgrade with Marriott Gold unless you're somewhere very undervisited or it's your very lucky day. When you have higher end cards, like I have the Hilton, I have 2 Hilton Aspire cards, and they give me diamond status. Now that's going to change because Hilton's going to have diamond elite. But I've been so fortunate that every time I've stayed at a Hilton with my Aspire card, I've gotten upgraded to like ridiculous suites. It has been the vacation game changer, and it is.
But what do you use that card for? Like when you're out for dinner, you're charging on that card to build points. Like, how are you building the points?
I mean, I've signed up for probably 6 Hilton cards over the last 3 years. Welcome bonuses are the fastest way to amass a pile of points. I don't ever use the Hilton cards except when I'm staying at a Hilton and there's a cash component.
And
I've gotten killer redemptions at Hiltons. I mean, it's like ridiculous.
But opening all of those cards and not using them every month doesn't hurt you?
I close them after a year and a half or so.
Okay, so
you shouldn't close a card under a year because one, you could have your welcome bonus clawed back. I mean, that's the main reason.
Okay. So, but I again, for our listeners and for myself and for everybody else, it's important because nobody tells you. So if you get a new card and you have to spend, let's say, X amount of dollars in order to get those points for the first
3,000 within 3 months,
whatever it is, right? And then you realize it doesn't have a lot of value to you and you don't love the card. You're saying, hold on to it for the year and a half. It's okay. It's not going to hurt your credit. You could open another card and be okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just open an endless number of cards because your credit will get dinged. Every time you open a new credit card or even just apply, even if you get turned down, your credit gets dinged anywhere from 3 to 5 points, and it usually recovers within 6 months from that one hit. There used to be a rule of thumb, especially with Chase credit cards. It's called the 524 rule, where Chase will not approve you if you open more than 5 credit cards in a 24-month period with any issuer, not just them. Each issuer has slightly different rules on that. Like you can't open with Amex more than I think 5 cards in 90 days. Like there's a lot of that's really in the weeds. But I open 2 to 3 cards a year just for the welcome bonuses and other perks.
But to Dr. Rocha, to your point, and Robin, you can answer it. But so you open up a card, you use it for the welcome points, then you realize, you know what, I'm not really getting much out of it. So now I'm going to close it. I'm saying, as long as you've paid it off, no harm, no foul to just keep it open.
Cards with annual fees mostly. If it has an annual fee,
except for the
I don't want to pay $700 a year for a card.
So that's the answer. As long as the annual fee.
So I have another question that I think other people who are Amex affiliated, and maybe some of the other ones do this also, but I know that Amex Platinum does do this. They ask you to pick an airline that you want to put. You
can change it every year.
Okay. But the question that I have is, so for somebody like Rachel, let's just imagine Rachel has the Platinum and she has a JetBlue card. Would you want to double it with JetBlue, or would you want to do it to like a Delta or an American Airlines or something like that and spread it around?
Well, it just depends on where you fly. You know, there's only if you're going to fly Delta and you have somewhere in mind that you want to go. I mean, where are you getting an airline ticket for under $200, right? So you have to, you know, I mean.
So it's not really relevant. It doesn't really matter where it goes.
Right. But then you'd have to book your flight on JetBlue through Amex, and you wouldn't necessarily get your free bag. You know what I mean? Like that's where it can be tricky to use that Amex credit.
Okay. So I'm trying to just go through the questions that I think people might have. So that's helpful to know. The other question that I have is, does it make sense for somebody who, you know, a family of 4, let's say, who they might have like the Amex series or a Chase series of a few cards, and does it pay for them to now have a Chase, well, I guess it's Amex because I don't know if Chase has this, but Amex Delta card. If they fly Delta maybe twice a year or 3 times a year, but that's their preferred.
Yes.
So it would make sense not to have an Amex or an Amex Gold and get that back, just to have the flight. Like, or should you bundle those two and have a airline card that's Amex, a Gold card, a Platinum card? Like,
it depends how much of mental energy and bandwidth you have for it. Okay. Right? Like, it doesn't sound to me like Rachel necessarily wants to manage lots of things, right? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. So, no, that's what I'm using you as an example. But a lot of people are like, it blows their mind that I have like, I don't know how many credit cards I have now, 30. I mean, I have a lot of credit cards. That blows people's minds. and it just sounds awful to them. But it also sounds awful to me to watch sports and know sports stats. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Can
I
I
have zero
ask-
interest in it.
I want to ask a
Yeah.
question, and I'm looking at the time, and I know we should probably wrap up. I want to end on a high, but I think my question is dovetailing a little bit off of what Dr. Boca just said, and now I'm concerned because the JetBlue card that you so graciously encouraged me to apply for and get, and I'm loving it, and I'm using it for my airlines and so on and so forth. What I'm realizing now, though, and again, correct me, Dr. Boca, if this is what you just asked, but should I only be using that for flights and flights alone? Because I was an Amex whore, pardon my French, but I was using Amex for everything because I didn't have a lot of credit cards, right? And then now with this JetBlue thing, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I have another option here. So now I'm wondering, am I doing this wrong? And
There's no wrong.
Okay, but
so the question is, what are your goals? Is your goal to earn? Is what you're really looking to do earn a bunch of JetBlue miles? And if the answer to that is yes, then use your JetBlue card. If you're like, well, I want transferable rewards, that membership rewards, right? Transferable meaning you can use them with several, like 18 airline partners and 3 different hotel chains, and some of those are things you're going to use. If your goal is to have more flexibility, then maybe use your Amex card more. But I don't know which Amex you have and what your multipliers are, your elevated rewards categories.
Well, you need to sit. You are going to have to sit down, which kind of brings me to kind of, but don't bump. Wrapping up the fact that, in essence, what I have learned today is that a credit card holder needs to identify what it is their needs are and what their goals are, and then. Okay, good. I passed the test. Then sit down with Robin or Robin adjacent professional.
No, sit down with Robin to pay her some money.
Figure out how we best get to the finish line, which is essentially the starting post of the right card for the right goals in mind. Yeah?
Yes, that's correct. And just like any other financial decision, those goalposts change and evolve over time. And I can't imagine we're going to spend this much on groceries when my kids are out of the house.
Right. Well, but then again, now we're opening up a whole nother can of worms. That leads us to, what cards should young kids have who are trying to build credit? Your kid, I need to break the news to you, is still going to have to eat whether he's living in your house or not.
There aren't that many cards available to college students. There are some cards that are specifically geared to college students. The card that I will have my son get when he turns 18 next month is the Capital One Saver One student card. It's a no annual fee card and earns elevated rewards on dining and groceries.
And so can I just ask you a question? That is better to give them than to make them, I'm assuming, a secondary on any other
authorized user. Well, that you should already have them as an authorized user to help them build credit. Then
does that build credit for them?
It does. It does build credit. It'll be tied to your credit. So the danger in that is that if your credit's just okay, it's not doing a whole lot for them. But getting a card that's geared for students, and these cards, a lot of them require you to show that you're enrolled in a university. But getting them started building credit at 18 is super important. Is a wonderful gift. Yeah, it is important. Hopefully they'll be responsible with it. It's kids don't know anything about credit.
That's why they need Robin. Robin, how do the adults like me and the kids like the kids out there who are now so close to becoming young adults in the real world, how do they reach you? You're not just a luxury, okay? You're a necessity. For all of us. So how do we find you, and how do people reap the benefits of your wonderful wisdom?
The best way probably to find me would be on LinkedIn. I'm the only Robin Sachs Frankel on LinkedIn. There are other Robin Sachses and other Robin Frankels. That's why I'm a two-namer. That's probably the best way to find me. Occasionally, not as much lately, but I'm going to start up again. I post little videos with tips about credit cards. People can DM me if they have something specific they want to ask. I also do credit card consultations where, for a very reasonable fee, I can go through what you're doing and give you some guidance on how to sharpen it up and make it better. Or if you have a pile of rewards and don't know how to use them efficiently, holler at your girl.
You're our
They'll
gal.
be calling you,
You're
Robin.
our gal. I love it. And we'll link your LinkedIn profile to our show notes and how people can reach you that way.
Yeah.
But you've been.
I'm on Instagram too.
You
Robin
are okay.
Sachs.
So we'll link that. Even though my head is spinning, which it normally does, regardless of what we're talking about on the corner of audacity and advice, my head is spinning because it's a lot of information. It is overwhelming. You have helped break down the wreckage that is
good.
credit
Thank you.
cards and
Yes.
all things that go along with it. But I know that we'll continue to have a lot more questions. I always say, and Dr. Broca always says, once a friend and guest of the show, always a friend and guest. I
Always.
hope you'll come back and join us another time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Robin,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
It's a pleasure. I
And
love talking to you guys.
as unpolished as you think I am, when you see my stack of credit cards, you're going to have a field day with me, my friend.
I should have
For
brought
sure.
my stack of credit cards so you could see them.
Can't wait.
Wow.
I can't wait. Dr. Boca, I want to thank you for your time and attention.
Thank
As
you.
always, you're lovely and wonderful, and you always come from such a great, different perspective also. To the listeners out there, we're happy to have you on board again. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, I think
YouTube?
maybe TikTok, maybe, and I think
Maybe.
maybe even YouTube.
Yes, you can see our
can
faces on
see our
YouTube
faces
now.
on YouTube, and a stack of Robin's credit cards also, I guess.
I'll take a picture for you.
You can email us at unpolishedtherapy@gmail.com. And of course, you can always find us weekly or monthly or who knowsly on the corner of audacity and advice, where our wheels and yours get spun upside down. Thank you, Dr. Boca. Thank you, Robin Sachs Frankel, for another episode of Unpolished Therapy.
Great sesh, girls! Hey everyone, like what you heard? Then don't miss out on what comes next. Subscribe now and please give the girls a 5-star rating. Learn more at www.unpolishedtherapy.com. Find and like them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll see you next week when Rachel Silvercone and Dr. Boca ditch the couch, grab the mic, and break down all the wreckage.